We're back for another episode, and today it's going to be an absolute banger.
Yes, we are doing a quick catch up with our yays and nays, straight into parents in the news. We've got some hilarious parent news stories. Plus, we've got some stories that parents sent in before we head into the Easter egg section, where we are talking all about Finding Nemo.
She can be heard crying, "Oh my God," when your son eats your dad.
But said he didn't need the permits because the tigers were his emotional support animals.
He had to lie down in the car on the way home because his new dick was sore.
And Cell used wisdom teeth. All right, to start this week, I have a question for you. How do we get to heaven? And for everyone listening, not understanding why that is so hilarious to me, these are the sorts of questions we get asked in the car by our 6-year-old.
Train.
On the weekend, we were left a bit like fumbling for answers yet again. I just didn't expect it in the car. Usually it's in bed that she ponders her thoughts and big critical questions. And in the car, I was just so unprepared that I just burst into laughter and was sitting in the front seat trying to hide that I was laughing and left it all to Sam, who fumbled around.
Suck at hiding that you're laughing, by the way.
I just couldn't get over how funny it was, and I was like, you know what? It's your turn to take this one. Okay. Anyway, that was a highlight of my week. What's our yays and nays? Let's start with that.
Off you go.
Well, my yay is our 18-month-old is coming out with words and little words, and he is so cute. You should cue over this him trying to say seahorse.
Seahorse.
Sure.
So cute. So that's my yay. Is just I love this phase where he just comes out with cute little words. My nay is the 3-year-old's phase of absolute lack of personal space. There is just no comprehension for him whatsoever. We had family over on the weekend. He walked up to my brother and pulled open his nappy and he's like, "Look at my doodle." And then he walked over, not in the same moment and same thought process, but then walked over to my sister, sat on her lap, pulled open her shirt and yelled, "Boobies!" They both came and told me and I was like, "I'm so sorry. We're working on that."
Not working on anything. He's a 3-year-old. 3-year-olds be 3-year-olds. It's their second 3-year-old. Should be used to it by now.
Yeah. Welcome to the family.
Yep.
Welcome to kid life. What about you, babe? You're being very quiet over here. Mm-hmm. I'm having a good old laugh. What's your yay and nay for the week?
Went away again for work, came back. I feel like the kids have grown.
Yeah, you were only away for 2 nights and they feel 2 months older.
Literally the 1-year-old wasn't talking when I left and now he's talking. So
yeah, he's got kids' names down. He's got our names down. Certain
I feel
activities.
like all of them have had a little.
Yeah.
Yep.
You only missed 2 nights.
Yeah, it feels like forever.
It did for me.
Just because of how big they were. And then we went and did some rollerblading with the kids' party and had a moment with Mackenzie where she was like, "Thank you for teaching me how to roller skate."
Which
cute.
That's a big yay after how it started. It did not start that good. You really probably should give some of that backstory for any parents listening to this thinking that we're amazing parents and just had this beautiful moment with our child. It started with a whole lot of meltdowns and tantrums and I can't do this.
And that was just Beck. Let alone the 6-year-old.
I did get to the point where I was like, if you throw yourself on the ground one more time, we are just going home. I don't care that it's the start of the party. I'm not having any more of this.
Literally, you were both tantruming at each other.
Well, she hurt me. She skated over my foot in a tantrum.
You were both tantruming at each other. Anyway, the 6-year-old was melting down because she couldn't walk or do anything with the roller skates and had a full meltdown, and it was a thing. But by the end of it, she pretty much had it down.
Well,
it was good fun.
Let's head to
the confessional. No, parents in the news.
Parents in the news.
Sure. Random ass facts. Bye back.
Well, you've brought your own random ass stories this week as well. You told me to leave you a gap.
I'm not allowed to have jokes, so I have to put in my own news stories now.
You are if they're good and you can squeeze them in. No, this one comes out of Kansas. A babysitter in Kansas had a real surprise when putting the kids to bed. The child she was watching came out and complained that there was a monster hiding under their bed. The babysitter went to show them that there was nothing there, and that's when she came face to face with a man hiding under the bed. He fled the scene once he was found, and the police later tracked him down and suspect that he had plans to kidnap the child.
Hello.
So that's a bit of therapy for that child.
So creepy.
Who just discovered there are monsters under their bed.
And the kid and the babysitter.
Babysitter, holy moly. You imagine that, like, fright. It's like those videos, ads that used to be there where it's like you're watching this like really scenic, the car's driving around and then something jumps up on the screen, except it's like, hey, look, there's nothing here. Oh my gosh, there is a person.
Yeah, that's freaky.
Yep. All right, you go. You wanted to slot one in. What was your story?
Yeah, well, this hit me on Facebook. So headline was, Mum discovers her toddler eating father's ashes. A mortified mother has found her 1-year-old eating the ashes of her dead father. The mother from Lincoln in the UK had only popped upstairs to put some washing away when she returned to discover the 1-year-old son playing with cremated ashes. Posting the clip to social media, she can be heard crying, "Oh my God, when your son eats your dad." The clip has over 16 million views with some really hilarious comments. Apparently it also happens often because there was like 3 other follow-up stories
Of people that it
people
happened.
who have had that.
Oh my gosh.
In like the recent months.
Oh my gosh. Who leaves ashes in reach of a like, I know children are very resourceful. No one knows that better than us.
It was up on a buffet table or something. But it looked like from when, where like, you know.
How delicious.
It was like all over the couch, all over his face, all over the floor.
How do
he
you
like
even,
played in it on the couch.
Oh, how do you even, like, what sort of cannibalism is that?
Our child was eating pot plant dirt yesterday, so
yeah, we're not ones to judge. Although still, please, if you're listening and have ashes in your home, like, way up high in a locked cupboard. Scatter them before your kids do, really. Apparently.
Someone hasn't got any emotional connection. Anyway, what's your next one?
I got a really short one, being that it's almost Easter. The CBS News have reported that families are apparently painting potatoes instead of eggs in the face of increasing egg prices. I don't know if that's quite the same. It doesn't have the quite the same symbolism behind it.
Yeah, no.
But, I mean, I'm all for being resourceful. If you can't afford eggs, oh my gosh, eggs are so expensive. I feel it.
If there's any there. I hit the shops the other day and there was none.
Yeah, true. Might be out of desperation. Plenty of potatoes.
And probably the chickens are getting no more pay. Yet we're paying more.
It's supply and demand, darling. All right, this story, it's not super parenting related, but the way they wrote their story, we shared a few weeks back, probably even more than that, about Kit, our 18-month-old, his obsession with his emotional support spoons or items that he finds in the morning.
Items, they're not just spoons, but
it's usually his spoons. And I had a good complaint about the morning that it was a dustpan instead of a spoon and how unhygienic it was because he wanted to take it everywhere. But this was the news story. A Nevada man was arrested last Wednesday after 7 tigers were seized from his home. He said they were his emotional support animals. He did not have special conditions or a permit to own the animals, but said he didn't need the permits because the tigers were his emotional support animals and the public wasn't in danger from them. It also turns out, interesting fact, that he had rescued them from Joe Exotic of the Tiger King.
I mean, they're cats.
They're big cats. They're emotional support
They'd be
cats.
cuddly.
That's what happens if you don't say no to the emotional support spoon eventually. We're working on it.
With emotional tigers.
Yeah. They're my emotional support so I can have them, and they're my emotional support so I can have them. Anyway, lots of fun.
I like tigers.
This week, we kind of got lots of random stories in response to the stories we've been sharing in. So I figured instead of like trying to theme it around a specific question, let's just read you some of the funny stories parents have sent in response to the stories we've shared.
Sure.
So you can read the first one because that came in off the typos story. Last week we did school fails and tales. And
the tits.
Yeah. Kids can't spell tights.
Tits for tights.
Yeah.
I had a student that wrote a story about his dad having to go to hospital to get a new dick.
Yes, you read that right.
He had to lie down in the car on the way home because his new dick was sore. Turns out his dad had a disc in his spine replaced.
We asked, does anyone have a better typo? And then this teacher came out swinging. They were like, yes, I do. Can you imagine being the teacher trying to read and understand the story?
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, well, we got a teacher fail sent in. This teacher wrote, I called my own mum on my class in hopes that she'd tell them how disappointed she was in their behaviour. She took their side instead and bought them all treats to class.
Rude.
She forgot the grandparent rule because parents always spoil the grandkids. So if they're your class, in extension, kind of a grandkid, they're going to get spoiled.
Yeah, it's true.
You're expecting her to go mum and she went grandma.
True. School fail?
Yeah.
My kid went to school and told them he wasn't given breakfast at home. They gave him cereal and called me offering food vouchers. I had to explain that while we didn't eat breakfast at home, he was given food on the way to school as we had to leave early for an appointment before school started. Little turd.
Well, that's probably just an understanding thing. Like for him, breakfast would have been sitting at a table with a bowl, eating his breakfast cereal. Whereas mum's gone, you've eaten breakfast because you've had food in the car, but to him that's not breakfast. That's food in the car. I get it, but how embarrassing. Can you imagine someone calling and being like, hey, do you need some food stamps? And being like, what the hell?
What has he told you now?
Like, it's lovely that that's what they went to do.
No, but I'll take a bottle of wine.
Might need it after that.
Mm-hmm.
This one came in response to, we shared a story about phones and kids calling 911. And this parent sent in, I went into my son's room once because I was hearing voices. I was freaking out that we had a stalker situation going on, only to discover that he had called the Netflix helpline and was telling this nice lady all about his toys.
Probably the best call she's had all day.
True. Probably happy to sit on the line.
Yeah.
Getting him to do a customer survey at the end. Can you just press 5 for all of these?
Just keep pressing 9.
This last one comes from the story we did. Actually, I think it was last year, but the story, it just keeps circling because so many people have had similar stories of the dad whose kid chucked a tantrum at the shops, and while he was carrying them out, the security guard stopped them. So many stories almost identical to that, but this was a good one.
I was out shopping with a friend and her 6-year-old. He began acting out in the department store and running through clothes racks. When she went to grab his hand, he threw himself on the ground and screamed at the top of his lungs, "Don't beat me." We were shocked. He was drawing a crowd and looked up at us and smiled. My friend was vehemently against smacking, and boy was he lucky. Holy dooly.
It's that manipulative. He knew what he was doing.
Little turd.
Oh, thank you for sending your stories in, parents. We love them, and that's what makes us laugh. So please continue to send in your stories as you hear these. If this inspires you, as you see the shorts on our socials, make sure you're following us because that's where all the good bits are. Yeah, if you see something, just comment, send us a message, send us something on our website, and we will all laugh together. And keep following us because I will put out a question this week, I promise. I've already put out like 2 on our stories as we've gone this week. So jump on board and stay on board now.
Send it.
We are talking Easter eggs because there are Easter eggs in the shop. So there are Easter eggs on the podcast. And last week, you all loved the Bluey ones. Of course, like I had no doubts, but welcome. If you were new to the podcast because you found us on socials with our Bluey Easter eggs, welcome.
Hi.
You find us in this will be number 3 of our Easter egg segment. So we started with Toy Story, found some really cool ones there. Then we did Bluey.
Yep.
This week we are doing, drumroll please. Babe, you're letting me down.
I'll put it in the episode. I'll put a sound effect in it.
We've got Finding Nemo.
Yay.
Yay.
No, yay. I actually like Nemo. Nemo is the first movie I saw in the cinema that I can remember.
Yeah, me too, actually.
That's
So
great.
I thought that's why it was a good one,
It's a
because
great
kids
6.
still love it. Parents, most of us millennial parents remember
those
seeing
who
it at the
haven't watched
movies.
it like 100 times with their kids on repeat love it. That's not us.
We are a bit numb from Finding
it
Nemo
is
in
a
our
good movie.
house for a while. Well, I don't have as many Easter eggs this time.
rude.
Bluey has endless, and we will just say that Bluey is the goat of Easter eggs.
Blue's the
because
goat of everything.
I put up the reel with just a summary of a couple of them, and people were adding more and more and more of that they had found. So I didn't find as many unless I'm blind, and we put this up and everyone's like, oh, what about these ones?
Well,
Yeah, there's a really good chance actually.
highly likely.
But starting with some fun facts. The director, Andrew Stanton, he was the voice of Crush, but he did that by mistake. So he did a voiceover lying on his couch for a rough cut, just totally not meaning to. And then when they did it on test audiences, they loved it and decided to keep it. And so he was the voice.
Totally.
He was literally, it was probably because he was like lounged out on the couch and like full relax, like let's just get
Dude,
something to chuck in there.
Crush.
Yeah.
Dude, check it out. Some gnarly swirl.
You cannot do the rest of the
Crushes the
episode in
bomb.
that voice. I know you want to.
Have you seen I don't know if you've seen it going around,
Yeah.
where Disney has the Crush animated thing when they go in the Pixar
At like
and
Disney
kids can
World.
talk to it.
Yeah.
And like they live animate it and live voice it.
You think it's awesome, don't you?
Brilliant. Nemo's mother's death. Oh, that's a bit morbid, isn't it? Was intended to be previewed in a series of flashbacks, but John Lasseter insisted that it be shown in the beginning of the film to explain why Marlon was so overprotective towards his son.
And all the parents say thank you, because when our kids have been really little and too scared by that scene, we just
fast forward that one
you
bit.
just start 5 minutes early, and then you can just ignore the rest of
5
it.
minutes
and let them
early?
Late. 5 minutes in. Yeah, not 5 minutes early. You know what I mean. But on that, technically, all clownfish are born male and are led by a female. And when the female dies, the male becomes a female.
Well, Marlon,
Yes. So Marlon should have been his new mummy. Thankfully, they decided to go with like believable over realistic technical fact and kept Marlon as dad, no mum.
sounds like Disney, doesn't it? Did you know Rove McManus voiced the crab?
Well, I
In
did
Nemo?
because I gave you these fun facts. But yes,
Isn't it the one where he's like, wait, the crab, is that on the pipe?
yeah, on the pipe.
And it's like, hi,
and
hi,
Dory
hi.
puts it. Yeah. So that's Rove McManus. So for international listeners who don't know, Australia.
Rove went to America for a bit.
Oh, years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
So we don't really have like
He hasn't really done
night shows.
much.
Well, we don't really have night shows and talk shows like Jimmy Fallon and
Well, we found one today. That's a bit lame, but still. Sam
we don't
Pang.
have any.
Sam Pang, shout out to Sam Pang tonight. Sorry,
We
buddy.
don't have any super well known ones. The last one that we did have was Rove, and so he was the nighttime TV guy.
He was good. He had Elmo
It
on
was-
there.
yeah.
He's good fun. Anyway, shout out to Rove.
Yeah, but I did not know until I found the fun fact that he made a cameo
I didn't
in
know
there.
that.
Anyway, so that was just some fun facts.
Now the Easter
tease
eggs.
you into the actual Easter eggs.
Yeet.
So, in the dentist's office, a young boy can be seen to be reading a magazine while waiting for his turn for treatment. On the cover is Mr. Incredible. It also pans in that shot to a corner with a pile of toys with a Buzz Lightyear, a Monsters Incredible book, and the Pixar ball that's in every Pixar movie.
Yep.
A little Easter egg treasure trove just there.
Yep. They do it all the time. Speaking of all the time, back to the A113. It makes more of an appearance. It's the camera model of the camera that the diver uses, referencing the classroom most of the production team attended.
Yes, in everything.
Class A113.
According to the commentary, this one's a good one. The tiki heads in the fish tank were modelled after the animators, and there's actually funny footage of them pulling these like faces to model the tiki faces off.
We need to do the side by side of that. That sounds hilarious.
Follow us on socials. I might make it there.
Do it. The dentist chair drills are called the Drill Tower of Power, with settings for mild, painful, and excruciating.
Someone in the animating team loves the dentist. Speaking of, I think most of the Easter eggs that we found were in that dentist office. But if you zoom in on the calendar on the dentist's wall, you'll see he has reminders for fire receptionist, followed by send flowers and recycle tartar and sell used wisdom teeth.
The guys have too much fun.
There's so many little details.
I love those things. Apparently there's another Shining reference with the Bruce the shark in the submarine with his face against the half-open door shouting, "Here's Brucey!"
That one's hard to miss. We don't watch horror movies, and I've seen that one.
Pixar guys are freaky. Anyway.
I don't know what their obsession with horror and like weaving in horror movies is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because even Bruce the shark, his name Bruce is a reference to Jaws. The animatronic shark they used to make Jaws, his nickname was Bruce. So that's where Bruce got his name from.
Yeah, Big Bruce. Yeah. Here's Brucey.
Which apparently...
Because we're Australian, we can actually do it probably.
Apparently, another fun fact, apparently Steven Spielberg's lawyer has got the name Bruce, like the nickname Bruce from that as well. He must be a shark.
Wait, who's the lawyer?
Steven Spielberg's.
Well, that's a pretty well-known fact, though, this last one. Is that when Dara walks in the room, it's like...
Yeah, the Psycho theme song. Horror. Like, more horror. Let's just pack it all into a kid's movie.
But it works.
Yeah. I guess it does. I don't love horror movies. That's why I'm like, what are they doing?
I don't know.
I don't love it. Which does probably mean a lot of it goes over my head, so I shouldn't really care. But anyway, that's our Easter eggs for... I was about to say Bluey. It is not for Bluey.
That's not Bluey.
For
That's
Finding Nemo. Again, let us know. We've got one more week till Easter, so more Easter eggs coming next week. Tell us, what is your favourite kids movie show? We should do Shrek. There we go. We've got 1 out of 2. If you have another kids movie that's hilarious or something that you love, TV show that's full of Easter eggs, let us know. We'd love to deep dive into that for you. What? I feel like Shrek would have heaps. I can't think of them off the top of my head,
probably.
but it's hilarious.
Like, probably.
So, look, I'm happy to be outvoted. Send us a message if you want something else, but
it's fun.
I feel like that would be fun.
It's fun. It'll be fun.
Anyway, have a great week, guys. Make sure you are following us. If you are watching on YouTube and have watched this far, it really means a lot to us if you like the video. Subscribe to our channel, jump on socials, like, send us some love, share this with a parent, a friend, someone who just could use a laugh, and we will see you next week.
So, yeah.